So perhaps my favorite principle of BodyTalk is that no harm is possible. So every single time you get a session, there's always tapping over the brain and over the heart. So when we tap over the brain, if something isn't a priority, the brain simply won't implement those changes and nothing will happen because it doesn't have anything to do. It's like telling you, hey, go paint that wall, it's right there. But there's no wall there. How can you paint a wall that doesn't exist? That wouldn't make any sense. Yeah. So that by far I think is my favorite, perk, is that nothing bad can happen. The worst case scenario is nothing happens. And I don't know about you, but that's a pretty big relief, considering when I was going to work with in medicine, which I had to learn a lot about the possibilities of what could go wrong and what might happen. They've said, according to the World Health Organization, that the leading cause of death now for years running is, any guesses? Medication error, or it's called iatrogenic. So it really means something in the system didn't work out as good as it should have, whether it's a medication error, or they left a sponge inside, or there's a surgical error, or whatever the case might be. There was an error on personnel, and it happens because if we look at the stress that our healthcare workers are under, it's absolutely ridiculous. No one can be expected to perform at 100%, and especially not under those conditions. I just happen to be fortunate enough to be practicing a system where that's not a possibility. So in summary, essentially we're going to use that yes-no communication system to figure out what's at the root of your specific set of issues. Once we've figured that out, we're going to tap over head and heart, and we're going to ask you to breathe. What does breath do? Well, when we inhale and we exhale, your brain uses that to scan your body to figure out what's going on. So if you're breathing, how much can the brain actually see? Like that much. So how much can change? Yeah, not very much, right? So when we're working with a BodyTalk session, we're going to have clients breathe. We're going to have them expand and exaggerate their inhale and exaggerate their exhale. Now what can my brain see? And now what's possible to change? Yeah. Right. So the inhale is used to scan what we call the higher frequencies. These are the things that you can't physically see, touch, and feel. Unless you're a cat, which, that would be very much obvious that your chakras are physical things, so you can see, touch, and feel those things. Or you're a dog, or you have some other capability to see beyond the standard physical senses. Okay? So those are like your belief systems, your ideas, your attitudes, your personality, your meridians, your chakras, etc. Okay? Now your lower frequencies, every time you exhale, those get scanned. So what are lower frequencies? Those are things that you can physically see, touch, and feel. So your bones, your muscles, your organs, your endocrines, your meat and potatoes. Okay? So the body's going to scan those to figure out, again, what's at the root of your specific set of issues. So even if people have asthma or breathing problems, this will still work really well for them. Okay? So you're going to be able to get a large chunk of issues even within a breath that's or a little bit shorter. But if you're healthy enough to be able to exaggerate more, then we're going to catch even more. Now the great thing about BodyTalk is it can help take your breath from here to here. And having had asthma for 25 years before BodyTalk and free fall, I'm pretty grateful to now be in this category of breathing for the first time in years. I should also mention that when we do this, we work really respectfully. So this is not a system for diagnosis. So we can't tell you if you're pregnant or not. We can't tell you what lotto numbers to pick, okay? We can't tell you if you have cancer or not. We can't tell you what diet you should be on, what prescription you should be on, what supplement you should be on, okay? Unless you're a practitioner that has a license to diagnose, we don't diagnose in BodyTalk. We don't have the training for it. Plus your body will misinterpret those questions. So are you pregnant or not? Well, everybody's pregnant with something. It might not be a baby, but it might be a burden that you're bearing. It might be an idea you might be creating. There might be a new project or a transition that you're getting ready to dive into. Yeah, does that make sense? Okay. Does your body have cancer? Well, yeah, and it should. Every few months you get a surge of cancer cells through your body. They're phagocytic, meaning they eat dead stuff, and they're designed to clean stuff out. Now, if they forget how to die and become unhealthy, then they get labeled as cancer, as you know it. But everybody has periods of cancer all the time. This is normal and healthy. Does that make sense?